place of the American continent in human history has long been one of archaeology's most fiercely debated topics. For years, textbooks, documentaries, and academic papers told us a single story. Humans crossed from Asia into the Americas via the Bering Strait near the end of the last ice age, roughly 13,000 to 15,000 years ago. This Clovis First theory claimed that the doors to the continent opened during this period and that the first settlers were spear-wielding mammoth hunters. But a chance discovery during a highway construction project in San Diego, California, changed what we thought we knew. The history of the Americas was pushed back not just a few thousand years, but more than 100,000, into a completely different chapter of human history. This is the 130,000-year-old story of the Seruti Mastodon and the controversy it sparked in archaeology. Everything began in late 1992 on a sunny day in Southern California, during the expansion of State Route 54 in San Diego County. As heavy machinery dug into the ground, it unearthed a secret buried deep in human history. Richard Seruti, the paleontologist on duty that day, noticed unusual bone fragments caught between the blades of the machines. This was no ordinary animal remain, it was the bones of a massive mastodon. But what surprised Seruti, and later paleontologists from the San Diego Natural History Museum, was not just the presence of the bones, but the way they were found. Something about the site was strange. A mastodon tusk was embedded vertically in the soil. The bones were scattered as if they had not resulted from a natural death, but from deliberate violence. Even more striking were the large stones found alongside the bones, stones completely inconsistent with the fine-grained sediments of the area. These rocks were far too heavy to have been carried there by river currents. One weighed nearly 30 pounds. Seruti began to suspect that this might be a bone processing site. Could someone, or something, have butchered this massive animal, broken its bones, and tried to extract the marrow? Finding the answer and presenting it to the scientific world took 25 years. The main reason for the delay was that technology was not yet advanced enough to precisely date such ancient bones. But in 2011 and 2012, scientists from the U.S. Geological Survey used cutting-edge techniques measuring uranium and thorium ratios in the bones and reached a shocking conclusion. These bones were not 13,000 years old or even 20,000 years old. The analyses placed the death of the Seruti mastodon at around 140,000 years ago. This date sent shockwaves through the archaeological world. Around 130,000 years ago, modern humans, Homo sapiens, had not yet migrated out of Africa in large numbers, and the Americas were thought to be completely empty and untouched. If these stones were truly tools, and if the bones were truly broken by hominins, then a mysterious human species must have been present in the Americas at a time no one had imagined. The study published in Nature presented a meticulous forensic analysis to support its claims. Researchers argued that fractures on the mastodon's femur bones occurred while the animal was still fresh, a process known as green bone fracture. Unlike dry, brittle bones, these had broken in spiral patterns. Such fractures occur when a heavy object, like a hammerstone, is used to strike fresh bone to access the nutritious marrow. To test this, the team conducted experiments on modern elephant bones, breaking them with stones similar to those found at the Seruti site. The resulting fracture patterns were eerily similar. Moreover, the stones themselves showed wear marks consistent with being struck against other stones or bones. Archaeologist Richard Fulligar of the University of Wollongong noted that these marks matched what would be expected from tools used in bone-breaking activities. Crucially, these stones did not belong to the local geology, meaning someone must have carried them there. Still, extraordinary claims demand extraordinary scrutiny. The Seruti mastodon hypothesis quickly became one of the most controversial claims in American archaeology. Following publication, leading archaeologists around the world voiced strong criticism, arguing that accepting a 130,000-year-old human presence in the Americas was extremely difficult. Skeptics pointed to the lack of a clear human signature at the site. Yes, there were broken bones and large stones, but no knapped stone tools, spear points, or, most importantly, human remains. At sites from this Paleolithic period, one would normally expect stone flakes or hand axes. None were found at Seruti. Critics suggested that heavy construction equipment could have broken the bones, or that natural processes might have transported the stones. In response, team member Steve Holin argued that some archaeological sites in the Americas functioned solely as bone processing locations, where stone tools were not left behind. According to Holin, these humans, or hominins, came only to extract marrow or use bones as raw material for tools, using crude stones as hammers and anvils before leaving. So, if these traces truly belonged to a human species, who were they? Who was walking through the Americas 130,000 years ago? This question leads us into the complex family tree of human evolution. At that time, while modern Homo sapiens were still largely confined to Africa, other human species lived across Eurasia. Chief among them were the Neanderthals, our strong, cold-adapted cousins, as well as the mysterious Denisovans in Asia and the older species Homo erectus. If these visitors were Neanderthals or Denisovans, how did they reach the Americas? Around 130,000 years ago, the world was in a warm interglacial period before the last ice age, and sea levels were much higher than today. The Bering Strait was submerged, making a land crossing impossible. This implies that these ancient explorers would have had to cross the ocean using boats or rafts, a scenario that would force us to rethink everything we know about early human seafaring abilities. While similar aged finds on Crete show that early humans could travel by sea, a voyage from Siberia to the Americas would have been a far greater challenge. The discovery has also been compared to what we know about tool use among primates. Capuchin monkeys in Brazil and chimpanzees in Africa are known to use stones as hammers, but lifting 14-kilogram stones and shattering a mastodon femur would require strength far beyond the capabilities of a small monkey, pointing instead to a human-like anatomy. Geological evidence deepens the mystery. The sedimentary layers indicate slow-moving, low-energy waters, conditions incapable of transporting such heavy stones. This anomaly strengthens the argument that the stones were deliberately carried to the site. If confirmed, this would overturn not only the settlement history of the Americas, but also our assumptions about the ocean-crossing abilities of early human species, suggesting that their maritime skills and adaptability were far more advanced than modern science has assumed. Today, the Seruti Mastodon site remains unresolved. The bones lie quietly in the archives of the San Diego Natural History Museum at the center of an ongoing scientific debate. Tom DeMarais and his team continue to defend their interpretation and are now conducting protein residue analyses on the stones, searching for traces of mastodon tissue. If microscopic residues are found within the pores of the stones, it would be definitive proof that they were used to break bones. The Seruti site may be a beacon illuminating the lost ages of the American continent. Perhaps this land was home, far longer than we imagined, to different human species, unknown languages, and forgotten stories. For now, the evidence consists of broken bones, displaced stones, and a date reaching back 130,000 years. Yet these silent witnesses whisper that the idea of the discovery of America stretches far beyond Columbus, the Vikings, and even the Clovis hunters, into the twilight zone of human history. The secret buried beneath the San Diego highway may only be the beginning. As technology sharpens its vision, and as we learn where to look, the memory of the Earth begins to speak more loudly. Perhaps deep within melting permafrost, or along some still undiscovered coastline, other evidence of this impossible journey is waiting to surface. History is no longer being rewritten only through written records, but through stones and genes, and it seems that in humanity's epic voyage, there are still many pages we haven't read yet. If you found this journey of discovery intriguing and want to continue exploring the unknown sides of history, don't forget to like and share your thoughts. Until we lift the veil on the next mystery, stay curious.